Today, I wanted to talk about 3 reasons why I believe homemaking is here to stay and 3 clear signs to verify that statement. I think I'll get started with a little bit about myself. My name is Barry. I live here in Charlotte, North Carolina, and the last 6 to 8 months, I've been spending a lot of time creating a space that I really enjoy. On this channel, we explore all of those things using what you have through sustainability, through storytelling, and through space making. And so if you're into that sort of thing, please follow the channel. But homemaking in the last 2 or 3 years, I've been just seeing a big trend on folks really leaning into things like, baking and gardening and being more resilient, thinking more intentionally with their dollars, how to offset inflation. And I think the biggest trend that I've seen to really verify that homemaking is here to stay is this return to rural living. People investing in areas and acreage that they can create family compounds, that they can start homesteading, and you're starting to see this influx of city dwellers moving into more rural areas, let's say under 20,000 people in said town or city. And I just think that's astonishing, particularly from the younger audience. There are a few creatives, I'll drop them over here, that are literally taking old general stores or, 100-year-old homes and unflipping them or renovating them or upfitting them, depending on where they are in their process. And I just really appreciate that. One of my favorite accounts right now is Unflipping, and literally going into some of these flipped homes, and particularly their home, and kind of taking back what was very timeless. People are trying to recreate mid-century modern, and you don't necessarily have to do that in some of these homes. You can just embrace the features that were there prior to said flipper. And so from the rural living perspective, you're seeing people take advantage of old barns, take advantage of old architecture, and find a way to make them better. I love those projects. I think they're fabulous, those rehabs, and being able to see a second life of a building. But something about the residential aspect of it is really bringing me joy, because it's giving a second life to another generation to be able to see a building the way that it was more than likely intended to be used. Number two, I would say it's this excitement to disconnect. You're seeing people journal more. You're seeing people get away from their smartphones. You're seeing people get lost in books. You're seeing true moments of disconnection from a connected society. And that's exciting as someone who's been a minimalist for at least the last decade, and someone who doesn't need the latest smartphone. I love tech, don't get me wrong, but I just love the ability to just leave behind phone calls and text messages and just be present, learning to be bored, as they say. And so seeing this excitement around low tech, people getting excited about old analog cameras or typewriters and just other forms of communication that aren't so digital is exciting. And I think that this trend isn't going anywhere anytime soon. I think if anything, you'll start to see more premium analog items being created, companies who really hang their hat on that. And I think it just is a true treat for us as consumers. Lastly, I want to say it's this response to resilience. You're seeing people shop secondhand more. You're seeing people unflip furniture and return them back to their unpainted glory, particularly wood features that were very hard to get now at the cost that you're able to see them. You're seeing upcycling of furniture that was just thrown out. You'll see that here on this channel. I flipped some old shutters, and I'm going to stores and seeing even used shutters be $10-$20 a pop, and we were able to find these on the side of the road and create a really cool aesthetic. And so I'm seeing people just get savvy with what they already have. Things like preservation of like fruit and gardening and making their food last longer and storage and pickling and getting back to techniques that are tried and true, again, baking. And I don't see that going anywhere anytime soon. In COVID, a lot of us responded to greenery, houseplants. I opened a plant shop in 2020, and we were rated best plant shop in Charlotte. We were really proud of the product that we presented, and we were all about ensuring that people walked out of that space with more knowledge than they came with about the houseplant that was fit for their space and making sure they can keep it alive. And while you're not seeing people buy more plants, you're still seeing houseplants very present in folks' homes. And now you're seeing gardening, or, vegetables and flower beds, and this return to wildflowers and native plants. When I walk around and see neighbors who have given that land back by letting it kind of take over, that's what it's about. We use our yards hopefully to be more intentional, whether it is to entertain, but being able to give some of that back to nature. I'm starting to see some healing take place where I'm seeing lightning bugs and dragonflies, where I didn't see those things prior to this boom of just native plants and wildflowers. So those are three clear cues that we are somewhat returning to a time where people just want simple living. And I'm one of said people. Despite living in a city, I love city amenities, I love being close to the city, but I have given myself more time to think about, is it this calling to a rural life? My wife and I have looked at smaller towns to consider buying some land on and really setting up shop. But until then, I enjoy homemaking right here in a very walkable neighborhood, and enjoy all of the amenities that allows. So those are three reasons that homemaking is here to stay. If you enjoy content like that, please subscribe to the channel. And until next time, peace.